Yes, good afternoon all. Can all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes. A very good afternoon to all the faculty members, staffs, students, and our resource person, Mr. I. Guhan. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. Today we are going to conduct a session on a quarter to Institution Innovation Council calendar activity on the topic design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. Now I am going to introduce about our resource person, Mr. I. Guhan. He is currently working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science Engineering at Dr. NTT Institute of Technology, Coimbatore. And he has also worked as an assistant professor at as a SNS College of Engineering, Coimbatore. He has completed his DE from Sri Ramakrishna Institute of Technology, Coimbatore. His ME from JJ College of Engineering and Technology, Trichy. Now pursuing his PhD at Anna University, Chennai under the faculty of ICE. He has won the Best Assistant Professor Award in Engineering from Pearl Foundation, Madurai, 2017. And he has also organized various faculty development programs, virtual conferences, workshops, and seminars. And he has published one book and 3 articles in journals, 5 articles in conferences. And his areas of expertise include data mining and data warehousing, optimization techniques, and big data analytics. Now, I hand over the session to our resource person, Mr. I. Guhan, sir. Sir, please, you can take over the session, sir. You are warmly welcome.
Okay. Warm greetings to one and all joined this session. Wonderful to be here. First of all, I would like to thank the management of Danish Ahmed Institute of Technology, Principal Dr. K.G. Parthiban sir, and IAC convener Mr. N.A. Ashfaq Ahmed for inviting me as a resource person for this wonderful session. Okay, let me present my screen. Can you be able to see my screen? Can you able to see my screen? Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Before I begin this session, let's have a small prelude of what is design thinking and how it is related to technology. See, we are all engineering people. Most of you are must be studying second or third years of engineering. We basically think that design thinking is a concept of business-oriented domain, but how it relates to technology is, see, in general, the aim of the technology is to develop a product. That is the ultimate aim of technology. So, in design thinking, we are proposing a highly relevant novel ideas, and that emerges a product which is a technical process. So we all must be aware of design thinking, being a technology person, so that it will create a novel idea into a product. So the interesting fact is it is common factor of all the engineering domains such as computers or electricals or electronics or whatever domain we take. Design thinking is one of the major contribution in developing the products. So let us start our session. So today our agenda will be why design thinking? See, what is the need of design thinking, and what does it mean? What is meant by design thinking, and what is the difference between design thinking and critical thinking? And finally, we will see some few case studies from international and Indian standards. So here you can see the picture of Steven Sasson. He is the inventor of the first non-film digital camera. See, earlier we had a camera which had a film roll in it. We will process it. We call it as a negative, and we will process it. And he invented the first digital camera uh, in the year of 1975. He worked at Kodak. Kodak, which is the company which had the patents of. It is 100-year-old company. It had the patent of the silver halide process. You all know earlier we had the film roll. We will take it and you call it as a negative, and you will process it, and you will finally get the photograph. The total patent was under the control of Kodak, and it was the highest grossing photography company over the complete world in around 70s and 80s. But later, we all know where the Kodak is now. In 1996, its market capital was $28 billion, and it had an employee of 140,000. See, in 1996, this was considered to be a huge amount and a huge market capital. And do you know where Kodak is now? Have you all utilizing it, seeing any advertisements or any products are you about Kodak? Now the Kodak is completely gone, and it went bankrupt in 2012, and it had the employee during its bankrupt. It just had employee of 17,000 only. So the Kodak had gone its decline. It had discovered the digital camera in 1975, and in 1996 it had the highest grossing, and in 2012 they have gone out market just because of the linear thinking. They had only the process of film processing. They had patented everything. They were thinking only of developing products which they were already developing. They didn't have the alternative approach or what the market is demanding for the future. So here we can come to a conclusion that traditional logical analytical methods will never have any future in any field. So okay, so let us consider. You all know these three companies: Nokia, Motorola, and BlackBerry. Can anyone say what is the similarity between these three companies? Do you all have you heard about these companies, Nokia, Motorola, or BlackBerry? What are these three things refers to? Okay, in around 15 to 16 years ago, in India, out of 10 people, 8 people will have Nokia mobile in their hand, and in the same period, BlackBerry was considered to be a business class mobile handset. It was only with the executives. Okay, and then the Motorola is considered to be a status symbol, and it will be similarly Motorola and BlackBerry. So in later years, Nokia was taken in hand by Microsoft, and finally they could, and they couldn't further utilize. They created some phone called Nexus or something, but Nokia is nowhere in scan in the recent years. And in Motorola, it was sold to Google, and then it was sold to Lenovo, and finally today Moto is also not available in most of the market, and BlackBerry is permanently closed to then and there. So what is the common point which became the cause of declining of these three companies? Is the one that can withstand this the one which is ready to change. If they are ready to change, final product alone will be can withstand the power. So in 1809, Charles Darwin had mentioned this. This is regarding the uh, species. This is regarding the evolution of species. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent, but one most responsive is the change. So he said in the context of evolution of species, it is equally relevant to the context of nations or context of institutions or context of any organization. And Nokia, Motorola, Kodak, BlackBerry, whatever you take, they were the biggest in the world one time. They had the biggest. See, consider Nokia, Motorola. They had consider the years like 2000, 2005. It is one of the biggest companies. So the top CEOs and the top technologists were all working in Nokia and other top mobile network companies. But they they don't know how to retain their business for the next 10 to 15 years. They all know, but the thing is, they're not ready to adapt the changes. When the new competitors come with some novel ideas, there they failed to research about the latest future technology, and then they failed. So it had the biggest gains, it had the biggest amount of huge investment in the company, but they failed. So we have to adapt the change and then we have to conquer the industry. Okay. Now, so this book is The Design of Business, written by Roger Martin. Why design thinking is the next competitive advantage. In this book, is given this the most organizations start with the new explanation at the beginning of the stage. See, if you people or say any corporate start their business with a concept of exploration, what you will think? You will we will find out a point where we can touch the market capital so that we can have the some profit at some stage. So they will start with the mind of exploration. What is meant by exploration? They they think about the customers, they think about the consumers, and then they think about what is the how the product must be designed so that it will become a successful product for their company. So they will think in the point of an exploration. In by that time it will be a mystery. See, they will have to undergo a lot of consequences, and finally they will hit at a point. They will find a some idea, and that idea will be a heuristic idea. And after a brief period, you will have to find a route through which the idea is developed into a product. And in that time, you will get a set up an algorithm and produce good products for them. And finally, you will exploit it. And when you come to a conclusion that we have finally arrived a product for our own company, a unique product, you will stop exploring further. So the thing is, you have finally, for example, if you consider Nokia, they had the uh, before the first product of Nokia was arrived, they must have done an R&D for around 5 to 10 years, and they finally hit the market in some early 90s or late mid 90s, and and they came up with their product, but they stopped exploring further and thought that this will be future, and they further gone in line with the market, and they shut down at a point. So when we crack it, we will stop in the narrow focus on doing the same thing in a better way rather than thinking beyond. So we have to handle the exploration in the same broader space after we have got the exploitation. But this, see, if we manufacture a unit of good in 30 days, and what will be finally you will consider. So how to do it in 20 to 25 days with yet more efficient, cost efficient, and the better quality. All the leaders and the top management focus on it, and the initial state of exploration will be lost somewhere at the later stages of the company. Okay. So this is an exploration point of organization, and how the exploitation is thinking of new ideas. Exploration is inventing new ideas, and exploitation is uh, focusing on a single point and further just tuning it to the market risk. So organizational focus, the invention of business in exploration part, the invention of business was more, the administration of business was more focused in the after the exploitation point. See the overriding goal, dynamically moving from current knowledge state to next state. They will start they will on much and much to create a great product in the exploration, the beginning of the period. But at the end, systematically and refining current knowledge, they will never have the point of thinking of new knowledge. They will have the current knowledge and refine it in a better way to get a yet more better product than thinking of other new products. So what is the driving force? Intuition, feeling, hypothesis about the future, originality. These are the things in the exploration page. They will think of what are the new ideas that will crack in our mind, so it will become a product. But during the exploitation, you will further rely on the you will rely on the excels or something, and you will go on analyzing, reasoning data from the past and mastering over it. Okay, what is the future orientation? In exploration, future orientation is long term. You can't get anything in the short, but in exploitation you will attempt to get any market profit in the near future, in short term itself. But the progress is uneven, scattered, false and significant leaps forward. These are all the progress. So you can't predict it in the exploration, but exploitation is a clear sweep. You can accomplish by measured, careful, incremental steps you can take in exploitation. What are the risk and reward? Exploration is always risk. You may not be certainly very strong that you will get a great product in the line of 5 to 10 years. You cannot say, but you may exploit in new, which you have never dreamt of product in a year or two. See, that is the risk and reward of exploration. In exploitation, it has no risk. You have already got a product. You are just going to fine tune it. It's predictable, but the rewards will be very small only. What is the challenge? Failure to consolidate and exploit returns, exhaustion and obsolescence. So, considering the risk and the challenges over, exploration part is highly risky. But at the end, we have got a product. So that is why the leaders and the top management are always thinking on how to exploit the company rather than exploring new things and spending money over new things. But these were the case some 20 to 30 years ago. They were developing a minimum number of products and fine tuning it. But in today's world and in the future, design thinking is the major role. You will see what is meant by design thinking in the few more slides. So that will be the future of any product manufacturing or any industry. So this is the Accenture Innovation Survey, which says 93% of the executives say that company's long-term success is dependent on the ability to innovate. Okay, so they believe that 85% of the executives in large companies expect they will need to transform their business in the next 5 years, and 75% of the senior executives said innovation is the top 3 priority of their firms. So finally, we can infer that innovation is a growing economic imperative. It calls for more people to be more innovative more often. See, can you understand? Innovation is the growing economic imperative. When a company is ready to innovate, there comes their economic imperative. It calls for more people to become more innovative more often. So, as most of the people believe in it. So, this is their actual belief. But whether they are confident over their belief is only 18% of the see their belief is like the 75%, 93%, 85% believe in they can go for innovation. But what is their actual confidence is 18% of executives say their innovation strategy delivering a competitive advantage. Their returns, they are thinking about their returns, but they are not confident. So 35% of the executives in large companies are confident in their ability to successfully transform their organization. They believe that innovation is the great opportunity, but whether they are confident over it is $1 million question. So the risk factor alone is the small leap over this uh, conventional transforming into a design thing, a traditional method to this design thinking capability. So, and it 3/4 of the companies say innovation is a priority according to news, but only 20% of the business are ready and equipped to innovate. The innovative companies like from Apple to Walmart, these are all the innovative companies. Apple to Walmart are recovering more quickly from the pandemic. So when you have the power of innovation, this pandemic can never stop you. See, when you are sticking on to some certain extent, you cannot redeem from any issues like this pandemic or when you are innovating during this pandemic, you don't want to create something. You will utilize this stressful period as the period they have you get it for research. So you will find new products and new variations where you can see if you take Google, they had Google Meet earlier, but see the number of users were uh, definitely during this pandemic. Any meeting app has had a tremendous growth over this pandemic. See, we people have the even the pandemic has gone slighter for the past few months. Still, we are utilizing the opportunity of this virtual meeting ideas, so that this is a wonderful opportunity that this new novel ideas have developed is being utilized by every public. So that is the idea of design thinking. Basically, a design thinking is a human-centered result. So, as we see earlier, the gap between the belief and the confidence over the company is very high. So, how to bridge the gap between these mindset? So the gap in companies say that they are ready to innovate, but they are also say they don't have the capability to innovate. And so how to bridge it? That's why the design thinking is called a human-centered design. Why human-centered design? When the human is ready to take the risk and innovate, the confidence builds, and this human-centered approach produces a more innovative idea to be implemented. See, when you consider, see, let's go to this is Herbert Simon, a Nobel laureate in economics, has said that he is more into uh, the, the concept called the science of artificial. What is meant by artificial? Anything you use, see, we are all, you are all watch this video in your mobile phone or PC. That is an artificial concept, and this is possible only because of the concept of internet. And you are sitting on a desk or a chair or something, that is artificial. And even in some case, if you are sitting in an AC room, the temperature is artificial. So the artificialness is ruling the world. The technology is ruling the world. The technology is the brainchild of artificialness. So artificial is the science behind everything, is what Herbert Simon has decided. So he has written the book called The Sciences of Artificial, and this he has mentioned that everyone designs who devises courses of action aimed at changing existing situations into preferred ones. So the situation, the thing, everything is already persistent. There is everything which are already available. We have to change the situation to as per your preference, artificially, not manually, artificially. Sorry, not naturally. The nature has everything, and we are artificially converting into as per our wish and into a preferred manner, so that we will get a sophisticated and a great product in our life. So here I have listed some great designs which are not meant to be. See, this is a company called Black and Gold. They have designed two things, two sprays. One is a fly and insect killer, and another one is cooking spray. They have designed both things in a similar design model. So if they put the fly and insect killer in a cooking spray, what is the uh, worst case going to happen? We don't know. So consider this street lights. Is there any use of the street lights? They are all turned to the fields. And see, if you ask me to find out some number, I'll have to look it out for from 2 to 3 minutes and to find out where is 20 or 19 or something. So this is a bit a confusing design. In the same way, what's the use of glass doors in a closet? And see, and again, how can a slightly elder person can walk in these stairs? How could you read it? Don't worry, be happy is there is what they intended to write, but they have written as don't be happy, worry. It gives the meaning. What's the use of this gate? Anyone can enter in this path. So those were the examples for poor designs. So good versus poor design. Good design is actually a lot harder to notice than a poor design in part because good designs fit our needs so well that design is invisible. See, for example, uh, if we consider if you ask any Apple user, Apple mobiles are considered to be the great examples of greater designs. So uh, if you ask them what is the novelty of Apple, they can't say because the great designs they won't explicitly prove to be great, but it will be great concept in a way that it is natural. You don't see the output of the greatness. You just use it and get the uh, better out of it. So feel it in a way that it is highly useful to us and we don't have to it is invisible. You cannot view the greatness. You can only enjoy the happiness over using the great designs. So that is the advantage of great designs. So these are some of the great companies where their extensive adapters of design thinking. Apple, their motto is design thinking helped Apple to innovate while placing consumers at the hearts of process. Netflix, we engage with what we call consumer science. We test new ideas with real consumers. At Airbnb, design thinking and design research inform strategic decision making to help user experiences challenges. And Amazon, we constantly look forward new ways to innovate on behalf of our different consumers. And IBM Design Campus provide the structure for spreading design thinking across the organization. And we all know Google and how the design concept of Google is utilized heavily by everyone. Instead of waiting to launch a minimum product to understand if an idea is any good, you will get clear data from a realistic prototype. These are all the motto of all these great design thinking companies, which produces greater products that are utilized by us. So let us see some few facts where you will get see the design the value of design find report. It was designed by Design Council of British. See the FT is considered sensex of our country. The design-less business created 200% higher returns as compared to the normal FTSE companies were 100 over a period of just 10 years. For the past 10 years, uh, they consider that design thinking has produced 200% higher returns. In the same way, if you consider this is the fact from a design value index, this is from Boston, USA. They have considered, see this business S&P 500 is higher normal as compared to the linear companies. And DVA means 100 design value index over a period of just 10 years. Design thinking companies. For the past 10 years, what are all the design thinking companies? Here they have given the list as they consider Apple, that design thinking IBM, has produced 200% higher returns. In the same way, Walt Disney, these are all the companies, design-centric companies. If you invest from a design value index, the stocks of Boston, USA, normal S&P companies, they have considered regular companies, linear these companies, the S&P a sum of $10,000, you will get around $17,000 over a period of just just 10 years, 2005 to 2015 they have considered. So over the period of 10 years, if you invest $10,000, you will get a return of $17,000. Whereas same time, if you invest in a design-oriented company like these listed companies, if you invest the same $10,000, you will get around $37,000, which is like 211% higher than the normal companies. This is what the design value index of USA tells. And this is McKinsey and Company. In the same way, they tell 10% of the revenue of normal, and see 3 to 6% was the revenue from the normal shares, and from design thinking you will get 10%. And in the same way, the returns of stockholders also 12 to 16% was increased to 21% over the period of just 5% to 2017. Okay, you all know about Coursera. They do the survey called Global Skills Index in 2019. They have done the research exercise. They have surveyed 10 different industries in 60 countries, all to figure out which are the top trending business schools in the world. And they have come that out of these 10 different companies, 10 different domains, 7 sectors feel that designing is the design thinking was ranked the number one trending business skill. See, according to automation, according to consulting, finance, okay, manufacturing, media, technology, telecom, these 7 sector companies says that design thinking is the number one trending business skill. See, for example, consumer goods, healthcare, insurance, these things are all traditional oriented companies where design thinking is not much needed. Of course, they consider design thinking as the fourth important thing, rather than insurance. Is all these insurance belongs to a very normal and a traditional sector where design thinking is not much necessary. They will need some business skills, some calculative index and everything. So finally, we will have a big question that what is meant by design thinking. That is the biggest question. We all now have come to a conclusion that design thinking is the future of any product development or a project development or anything. But we have to understand what is the real definition of design thinking. For example, any organization in that matters, people are at the center. See, for example, if you consider a college, student is the consumer, student is the people. So in any business, the consumers or customers are considered to be their center. The business thinks only about the people. If in a government, the public is considered as the main context. So people, so you cannot go and develop any business thinking in any non-living thing in the center, and you cannot develop any product. So you have to consider people minds as the key, and you are going to develop anything only for the people. So design thinking philosophy is, and a starting point is how can we immerse ourselves to the construct of people for whom we are trying to innovate and give a solution what may be their needs. So we need to understand the desirability of people. See, for example, you are going to design any product, so you are going to market the product into a people, into a public sector, like to within Tamil Nadu or within India. So we must understand the what is the need of Indian in context of Indian people, or in context of Tamil Nadu people, in context of globally. For example, you can consider developing a product for doctors. So you have to know the desirability of doctors. So if you start developing a product and in a mindset of a say students, you are going to develop something for the in keeping students in the mind. So you have to consider what is the desire of students, what is the desire of doctors, what is the desire of or someone or people of rural people, what is the desire of rural people, what is the desire of patients. So you have to consider the people in mind and what is their desire, what is the problem lying within their mind. And the important thing is you cannot go and ask them, because they don't know their desires. See, if they have the desires, for example, as a student, if you know your problem, you 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 can directly go and ask your faculty. See, for example, if a company, if a manufacturing company has a problem, they need some product, they will directly go and purchase it from other product, or they can ask their vendors to develop a product in such a way that it will suit their needs. See, for example, there is a business firm, they need a software for their product, they will directly go to a software company and say that we are needing a new ERP for our company in such a way that it will suit our company. In such a way, if an institution wants an attendance tracking software, as per their needs, they can ask their question to any software company, and they will develop their product. So these are all the things, these are all stated desires. They will go and straight away purchase from a organization. So you cannot design think on their stated desires. You have to understand their unstated desires, you have to understand their problems, you have to question them and understand their problems, and try to understand any unstated problem from their mind, from their point of view. And so you can find out the desirability of the people to whom you are going to cater. And so finally, after getting the desires, you have to go for feasibility study. So if you have found a product, you have found a problem, simply finding a problem doesn't give you a product. You have to find a way, in a way you can produce a feasible solution for the problem. By understanding the needs of the people, you can find out any solution for the problem. That is the unstated, that is the final way of developing the idea of into a product. So establishing the disability is the first, and after figuring out, we must try to find a feasible way. And then after finding the feasibility, you have to have think about the viability. What's meant by viability? The financial constraint, that is the final issue. So if we uh, uh, solve a problem with the project of 1 crore, which can which is going to cater a rural India, that may not be possible immediately. So you have to consider a solution which is viable for you. You can utilize the technology available and solve the idea with in in the given economic senses. So we have got some examples which you can understand this better. So when you find the desirability, feasibility, viability, then comes a wow factor in the center, and that is the great design which is a child of this design thinking. And at this juncture, you will get the design thinking solution. Okay, so this is considered. We have three important domains, which are all technology, human values, and business. We know about technology, engineering materials, infinite computing, networks, artificial intelligence, robotics, everything. And human values is psychology, sociology, anthropology. And businesses, accounting, finance, economics, marketing, information technology, entrepreneurship, everything. And out of these three different domains, how to get the product of design thinking. In between, there are few things, which is technology and business collaboration gives manufacturing and services. Technology and human values gives design and interactivity, human computer interaction, visual thinking. And human values and business collaborates to give organizational behavior, human resources management, and leadership. So all these things comes under the concept of design thinking, and you will get a product of what is meant by design. So this is drawn by a designer at Apple, and he was asked to explain what is meant by design thinking. You just think that he has cracked something, but this is a real explanation that if you go on research about some concept, you will have uncertainty, unknown patterns, and insights, which will give a confused state. And at certain point, you will get a concept or a prototype, which will which is going to lead you an innovation. And while you travel towards the innovation, the uncertainty becomes a clarity, and the indefinite patterns or insights will get a clear focus, and finally you will get an innovation. And that is the exact design which is driven by the design thinking. So anyway, you are going to start from a very uncertain and a confused. Only you can get this. I think so. I will quickly move to few examples. These are the School of Design Thinking has developed. These things are the narrow approach: understanding, observing, point of view, ideate, prototype, test. This is the narrow approach of any product development. But design thinking is you are going to iterate furthermore ways so that you will get a great product. Keeping these slides. So now let us have a comparison of what is design thinking versus critical thinking. Critical thinking is more evaluative in nature and analysis of particular thinking. Critical thinking is you all have known about solving aptitude questions and other things. Critical thinking describes those things. Design thinking is going beyond the limitation in being original and fresh in one's mind. See, critical thinking is one of the most sought after skill. Any company will come and ask you, they will first ask about the aptitude or analytical ability of you. So it involves the evaluation of sources such as data, fact, observable phenomenon, and research finding. Good critical thinkers can draw reasonable conclusions from a set of information and discriminate between useful details to solve a problem. Whereas design thinking is a thinking out of the box, can be stimulated by process like brainstorming, also involves lateral thinking or to perceive non-obvious patterns that can be strengthened with practice like solving riddles. Generally, that involves a wow moment is considered as a creative. In India, see, this is one of the example for design thinking. So the BMVSS Jaipur Food is one of the greatest example of design thinking. It was an NGO started in 1975 by D.R. Mehta. The beneficiaries of Jaipur Food are generally poor and economically challenged and daily wages. Earlier, from any part of India, they have to go to Jaipur, which may take around 2 to 3 days if it is a long distance area. And in Jaipur they have to spend nearly 2 to 3 days. So almost 4 to 5 days they have to spend for getting the food ready, because they have to customize the food as per the needs of the people. So 5 days in spending for a daily wages. uh, this is an NGO, but if you spend 5 days, you have to stay there. You have to see your expenditure over there. You have to travel. You have to consider the food expenses and everything. Staying there for 3 days, this they empathize the situation, and finally they innovated a system wherein the user reaches the premise in the morning and he can get his fully customized food in very few hours, and he can reach the home in the same day. So no staying, no extra charges. Next morning he may go for his job. So for a underprivileged, this proves to be a useful area. So this you all might know under Aravind Eye Care system. It is also a great institution which was started in Madurai. Uh, Mr. Govinda Pak, he was troubled by the fact that why so many people in rural areas go blind. The major issue was the cataract problem in their eyes. In most cases, they don't know they have cataract until they go blind, and even if they know, there were no facilities. But the surgery is a simple procedure in urban areas back then in 20 to 30 years ago. He emphasized this. So if the people can't come to me, I will go them. So they set up an eye care camps in vans, schools, and if they need surgery, they will take them to the city, and they will send them back after surgery in buses and everything. So he empathized and modeled a plan so that he did lot of camps, and then finally eradicated cataract in from our society. And finally, this is one project. It was the Project Embrace, started by a four-member team comprising two Indian students from Stanford University. I'll quickly show a small video of around 3 to 4 minutes. Finally, we can wind up after this video. You will understand what is meant by design thinking clearly from this video. Just wait a minute.
Please close your eyes and open your hands. Now imagine what you could place in your hands. An apple, maybe your wallet. Now open your eyes. What about a life? What you see here is a premature baby. He looks like he's resting peacefully, but in fact he's struggling to stay alive because he can't regulate his own body temperature. This baby is so tiny he doesn't have enough fat on his body to stay warm. Sadly, 20 million babies like this are born every year around the world. 4 million of these babies die annually. But the bigger problem is that the ones who do survive grow up with severe long-term health problems. The reason is because in the first month of a baby's life, its only job is to grow. If it's battling hypothermia, its organs can't develop normally, resulting in a range of health problems from diabetes to heart disease to low IQ. Imagine, many of these problems could be prevented if these babies were just kept warm. That is the primary function of an incubator. But traditional incubators require electricity and cost up to $20,000. You're not going to find them in rural areas of developing countries. As a result, parents resort to local solutions like tying hot water bottles around their babies' bodies or placing them under light bulbs like the ones you see here, methods that are both ineffective and unsafe. I've seen this firsthand over and over again. On one of my first trips to India, I met this young woman, Savita, who had just given birth to a tiny premature baby, Rani. She took her baby to the nearest village clinic, and the doctor advised her to take Rani to a city hospital so she could be placed in an incubator. But that hospital was over 4 hours away, and Savita didn't have the means to get there. So her baby died. Inspired by this story and dozens of other similar stories like this, my team and I realized what was needed was a local solution, something that could work without electricity, that was simple enough for a mother or a midwife to use, given that the majority of births still take place in the home. We needed something that was portable, something that could be sterilized and reused across multiple babies, and something ultra low cost compared to the $20,000 that an incubator in the US costs. So this is what we came up with. What you see here looks nothing like an incubator. It looks like a small sleeping bag for a baby. You can open it up completely. It's waterproof. There's no seams inside, so you can sterilize it very easily. But the magic is in this pouch of wax. This is a phase change material. It's a wax-like substance with a melting point of human body temperature, 37 degrees Celsius. You can melt this simply using hot water. And then when it melts, it's able to maintain one constant temperature for 4 to 6 hours at a time, after which you simply reheat the pouch. So you then place it into this little pocket back here, and it creates a warm microenvironment for the baby. Looks simple, but we've reiterated this dozens of times by going into the field to talk to doctors, moms, and clinicians to ensure that this really meets the needs of the local communities. We plan to launch this product in India in 2010. And the target price point will be $25, less than 0.1% of the cost of a traditional incubator. Over the next 5 years, we hope to save the lives of almost 1 million babies. But the longer-term social impact is a reduction in population growth. This seems counterintuitive, but turns out that as infant mortality is reduced, population sizes also decrease because parents don't need to anticipate that their babies are going to die. We hope that the Embrace Infant Warmer and other simple innovations like this represent a new trend for the future of technology. Simple, localized, affordable solutions that have the potential to make huge social impact. In designing this, we followed a few basic principles. We really try to understand the end user, in this case, people like Savita, who try to understand the root of the problem rather than being biased by what already exists. And then we thought of the most simple solution we could to address this problem. In doing this, I believe we can truly bring technology to the masses, and we can save millions of lives through the simple warmth of an embrace.
Hope you understood the importance of design thinking, and most of the case studies which we have seen, the most of the videos which we have seen are all of the brainchild of empathy, but in universal case, the design thinking is commercially viable, like Google or Apple or international companies. They utilize the opportunity of design thinking, and finally they are giving the product of great commercial viability. So hope in the next trends, we people from our country also create great products that are brainchild of design thinking. That's it from me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Before ending the session, I will share the feedback form for the students and faculty members in the chat box now. Wait a minute. I have shared the students' feedback form in the chat box. Students can fill your feedback Now I will share the faculty feedback form also. Yes, now I have shared the faculty feedback forms. Faculties can submit your feedbacks. Yes. Today we had a wonderful session on the topic of Quarter 2 Institution Innovation Council's calendar activity, which was design thinking, critical thinking, and innovation design. We listened to a lot of new topics. We enhanced our knowledge in design thinking. We came to know about what is design thinking, what is critical thinking, and various examples were shared, and various companies following all these innovation was wonderfully explained by our resource person. Hope this session will be very useful for our students and also for faculty members in the near future. And I thank our management, our principal sir in his absentia, all the faculty members and students for attending this session, and also for making this session a grand success. We, as part of this Institution Innovation Council, we will conduct a lot of useful activities in the future. Hope this session will be very useful for you. And I thank our resource person, Gugan sir, for offering such a wonderful session to us, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, faculties and students. Thank you, resource person. With this, we will end the session. E-certificates will be provided for all the participants who have attended more than 90%. Thank you all. Have a nice day.